Welcome to On the Hill Podcast.
All right, so we're back on the hill.
Back on the hill.
Yeah, man.
Episode 17.
17. Good to see you. We got a
good to see
special
you,
guest
too.
here today. You want to do a little intro first?
Yeah, I would just say if you want to listen to us or watch us, we're on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you listen to podcasts. And this video will be up in a few weeks after episode 16. So,
Yeah, 16 was just released. Yeah, and if you go on there to, particularly YouTube, give us a like, give us a comment if you can, and then make a suggestion. If you want to come on the show, hit us off on like Facebook Messenger, or if you have somebody you would like to see on the show or a topic. But now, without further ado, Tamara Wright.
Hey, you said it right.
Good. Really?
how do people
Yeah.
usually say it?
What do they usually mess up?
Tamara.
Oh, Tamara.
Yeah.
I had I probably shouldn't say this. But anyway, I knew Tamara before.
Oh, there's like over
know
40 ways to say my name and spell it, so Hakuna Matata.
Tamara, yeah.
I had a friend who
Hakuna
dated
Matata.
a Tamara, and we kept calling her Tamara.
Oh,
And
yeah.
she had so she corrected us the other way.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
Okay.
girl, that was a long time ago. But anyway, nothing like that.
Yeah. Well, this girl was like Tamara, like camera.
Oh,
She
yeah.
would say it like that.
It's weird.
But,
But anywho, Tamara.
Tamara like camera.
Well, she went. No, it was spelled the same, but it was Tamara. That's how you said it.
I've always
So
liked
she
the
was
name
like camera,
Tamara,
but with the
yeah.
T. But I've always heard Tamara. So
Well, here you are. So, we met some time ago. You were at the academy, and then we met there, and we've been friends ever since.
Yeah, definitely.
Off and on, yeah. So, I mean, we've kept contact, but,
We
you're...
pretty much kept contact. It wasn't anything crazy. Life got into it. You were working, and I was figuring out life at that point. So,
Yeah, I tell all the recruits back then, or even now, is like, if I can help you in any way, I'm going to, and I try to stay true to my word. But anyway, so we normally start with where folk grow up.
So I grew up, if nobody's familiar with the state of Virginia, or at least central Virginia, I grew up in a small county called Cumberland County. Mm-hmm. So between Prince Edward, where Longwood University is, and Powhatan, that's where I grew up. So graduating class was around 100, if not less than 100 people.
Wow.
Yeah.
And this is a public school.
Yeah, public school. And fun fact, it's May will be 10 years since I graduated.
Wow.
I know.
Me too.
Really?
yeah, they're setting up my my 10-year alumni thing this year.
Reunion.
That's what it's called.
We were supposed to have a 5-year, and I don't think that happens. And I don't think there's anything in the works for a 10-year for us. So,
Yeah,
but
they just sent us. I didn't realize it until like last week.
Yeah.
I got an invite, and I was like, God, I feel old.
did you get a class ring?
I did.
Good. Guess what? I'm wearing mine today.
Oh, is that what that is?
I'm surprised it actually still fits.
Mine's in a
Everyone's-
box somewhere. I gotta find it.
That's pretty
Oh,
nice,
yeah.
though. Yeah, the fact that it fits is a good thing.
Some days it fits, other days it doesn't.
2014.
Oh, yeah. It's
That was
crazy.
Cumberland
County.
Is it?
Cumberland County High.
Yeah.
So it's a peridot?
Yeah, it's my birthday, August.
Mine, too.
Oh yeah, he's August too.
It's pretty nice. Yeah, that's what I noticed when you came in. I saw the ring, and I was like, that's got to be a peridot. So I'm glad you brought that up. So what day in August?
August 6th.
Damn. I'm August 9th, man.
I know.
But you do have a...
Oh, that's mom's birthday's August 6th.
Yeah.
Because they're
Really?
right. Yeah.
I haven't met anybody who has another August 6th. Well, recently one of my coworkers, I found out that she's also born on August 6th, and we both
Wow.
had like a girly moment. It's like, oh my God.
Well, that's a, yeah.
Well, I heard she just got home, but yeah, she's August 6th and you're August 9th. And then it used to confuse me because he's older, and but as a kid, her birthday like came first in the month, so I never understood why she was younger than him.
Yeah.
And I was like, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, she's born before you in the 6th. You're born in the 9th. How are you older? It's like 2 years prior. So I was born in 68, man. I'm old.
You know what? I don't know which one. This is kind of dark, but August 6th and August 9th were both the bombings in Japan.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
No. Oh, yeah.
So I don't know what
Nagasaki.
order. Yeah, Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's just
We're on
how,
both.
that's how we roll on those days.
I mean, dark humor. Hey, we came in with bombs, so let's go.
Yeah.
I mean,
and then my sister, she was born
Hard
on...
act to follow.
Yeah, her birthday's 9/11. So all three of them have like really dark birthdays.
But we're such nice people.
We are.
Most of the time.
Yeah.
I mean, I do have a dark side. I don't know if your mom maybe, but I definitely have a dark side. But anyway, it's not well. I know. Well, we're Leos, man.
Yeah.
We definitely have a dark side. If you're a Leo, you don't have a dark side, something's up. You're lying to somebody.
Yeah, I guess so.
Lying to
can't speak.
yourself, bro.
I'm March, so I'm not a...
What are you, like a Libra?
I'm a fish. I'm a Pisces.
Pisces.
You're not a leprechaun? You sure?
Maybe.
I don't know. The
I'd be
height
kind of
it-
tall for a leprechaun.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Cover the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow.
Yeah. If anyone knows where the pot of gold is, I'll take it.
There you go.
What do you got to do to get it, though?
That I don't know.
That's the pitch.
That's
the
a question
pitch.
for the
Yeah.
leprechaun.
Oh, yeah. But no.
All right, let's get back on track.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. So you grew up in Cumberland, and you basically born and raised in Cumberland.
Born and raised not really born in Cumberland. I actually was born out towards Lynchburg.
Okay. Yeah.
Family kind of bounced around to where my mom had me young. 2 months after she turned 15, she had me.
Wow.
So baby raising a baby.
Yeah.
But grew up. First house was in Appomattox when I was an infant, and then we moved out to Cartersville, which is part of Cumberland County, next to the James River.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, I was out there for a little bit, and then about elementary school, elementary school. There's a little stint because mom and dad split
Right.
when I was about 6 or 7 years old.
Okay.
There was a stint to where dad let mom take my brother and I, who's 5 years younger than me, to go live with her and her dad out in West Virginia. That's where a lot of my family is anyway. And I was out there for about a month. Dad came back to get us because he got a call that we weren't in school for like the last 2 weeks, or at least I wasn't. My brother was still in diapers at that point. So came back home and then, graduated Cumberland May 2014. And then I was 17. And then I went off to Ferrum College.
And where is that? Is that in near Cumberland, or is that?
No, I went out BFE, so that way nobody can come and visit me or anything like that. But if you're familiar with Virginia Tech and Radford, I'm actually about an hour and a half from Virginia Tech, about 45 minutes from Radford.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Nice.
I feel like is it near? Have you ever heard of Floyd County?
Yes, it's close to Floyd County.
Yeah, I feel like my brother lives in Floyd now. He retired and moved to Floyd, but one of the times we came home,
Floyd Fest?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Floyd Fest. Yeah. But one of the times we left his house. Well, his family lives there, him and his wife, but I think we went by Ferrum College.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've seen it before. I just didn't know where we've heard of it.
Route 15. Yeah, you'll bypass it depending on which way you're going, but yeah, Ferrum, you'll cut through campus and the Blue Ridge Museum, and the farm. So college will be on your right, the farm and everything will be on your left.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that sounds right.
Nice. Now, have you been to Floyd Fest?
No, I have not, but
You've never been either.
Well, it got canceled last year for some reason. I couldn't get the park, believe it or not.
Yeah,
No,
they had a whole new venue. Yeah, because one of the people I used to work with, she was helping with the company who was putting it together. And like a month before or something, they had set up, everything, the porta potties, the stages, everything set up. And then the property itself, the property manager said, never mind, you guys can't use this. And they had to cancel the whole thing.
Why is that? Anyway, let's not get into all that.
Yeah,
I host remorse. That's what it is.
Yeah, I don't know, like something was guaranteed and then someone didn't follow through with something and it just slipped through the cracks.
That's legendary because my brother goes. That's a big. So you've got. I'm a little off topic, but Floyd is like like the weed capital of this.
So you got Floyd, which is hippie central, as I like to put it, and then Franklin County, which is where Ferrum's at. It's moonshine capital.
Yeah.
of the
Okay.
state.
I was going to ask you. All right.
Yeah.
So Franklin was the original.
So that's why you went out there.
Yeah, but the moonshine. Yeah, it is Franklin's. I couldn't think of it. I'm glad you said it. I was going to ask you that. That's exactly what I was going to ask you. Yeah. So Frank, that's the moonshine capital, man.
Yeah, it was actually really cool about the history. I grew up I have family ties up in West Virginia, so knowing about the White Lightning up there, and of course knowing this history, it was really cool. But no, when it came time after I graduated, it was either, for me, it was join the military or go to school. And with that, going to school was far-fetched because then I would have to put myself through it, pay for it, because my stepmom and my dad couldn't really afford to push me through or anything like that. And then at that time, my mom and I didn't have a really good relationship, so we were like on and off. So, so I applied to 3 colleges just to see. I applied to Longwood, I think it was. I also had a connection with the cheerleading team with Longwood because of one of their camps during summer school, during high school. Yeah. They're like, hey, when you graduate, give us a call. But yeah, the person who told me that was no longer there. So I tried for VCU, didn't hear back from them, and I applied to Ferrum because one of my cousins on my dad's side was going into her 5th year there. Okay. So I was like, hey, it's somewhere new. I know somebody. We got the approval to be roommates together. She put in a good word for me where she has her work study, which is the mail room. So I already had that part lined up. So I was like, why not? Give it a shot.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I'm actually really glad that I chose the school route because I was on a very tight leash, so to speak, with home. So that gave me the opportunity to pretty much spread my wings, figure out life, figure out how people actually work. So with that, it was a lot of fun. Once I figured out what I wanted to do and everything, really switched my majors. It was criminal justice, but of course, how I grew up, it was, if you have that, don't come back home. Wow. So after one class I had, it was an elective, it was orienteering. I switched to recreational leadership as a major with outdoor rec. So with that, I had a blast, and I went for 2 years. I was on track to either graduate a semester early, if not a year early. So sophomore summer, I applied to do my internship. It was either an internship or e-term in order to be part of your graduation packet. So I was like, if I'm on track, let's go ahead and knock this out. I applied for AmeriCorps. So I was an AmeriCorps service member for a 675-hour program, and that was with Virginia State Parks. And I've worked with Virginia State Parks. It was one of my first official jobs, so to speak. I don't count work study with college. I was a lifeguard with Bear Creek Lake State Park, which is in Cumberland County, and worked my way up there. And when I came home from school, I was a housekeeper. So I would go and help out and everything. I didn't want to sit at home for a month. And then AmeriCorps, it was the Virginia State Park Trail and Interpretation Program. So when I wasn't creating programs and facilitating those, it was doing trail maintenance. So I got to do that over the summer. I was on a living allowance of like $3,000 that summer. So with that, I couldn't pay off my loan, or at least my balance from the previous semester, in order to return and re-sign up for, register for classes for the next one. So... But that summer was also a pretty bad one because once I came home, I ended up living in a tent for about 6 weeks.
Goodness gracious.
Wow.
Yeah.
What happened?
In Cumberland?
Yeah. So I didn't want to leave the AmeriCorps system and like fail trying to get my education and everything. So I stuck it out with that, and I pretty much had like nowhere to go. Let's just say the family structure fell apart. So lost the house that we were in, and Dad was taken care of, I guess, at that point. My stepmother had a place to go, and when I came home that summer, my brother actually moved in with one of our uncles, my dad's brother, and I didn't know that until I came home, and he was with him for like 2 months at that point. So I was like, where am I going? So I was like, well, I'm at the state park. I got a couple of good coworkers, so if anything, I'll be fine. I'll finish it up. I'll be going back to school. Be good. I stayed in the tent for 6 weeks.
That's rough.
6 weeks, and then getting ready to go back to school. They closed down the bunkhouse for me, which was about 2 weeks in the bunkhouse that was on the state park property. Right. So that way I can get everything ready for school and all that. Found out I couldn't go back. So I was like, well, the reason I did AmeriCorps was for the Siegel Education Award, which is a $7,000 reward that goes towards your education. I explained to the people who dealt with that part of it, and they're like, nope, you can't use it for any previous education debt that you have. You have to use it for the upcoming one. And I told them my situation. They're like, nope, And I was like, well, there goes my education award to take care of my next year and a half. So
Yeah. That sucks.
wasted summer, but I had a lot of fun that summer.
That's
I do.
awesome.
A couple of the programs that I started is still used to this day. So one of them was SUP in the morning, stand-up paddleboard. So it would be a stand-up paddleboard beginner's class, or at least a class to get out and experience the nature of the lake and everything before boating hours and everything.
Nice.
Yakking out and back is also a beginner's course on the kayak. So I had a lot of fun with that, similar to SUP in the morning. But that was, it fluctuated. Every other day it was either SUPs or kayaks.
And was it like for camps, or was it just people who just could come in and...
Oh, it was open to whoever came into the state park.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, yeah. So my first couple for my stand-up in the SUP in the morning was a couple from D.C. So I got a shout out through AmeriCorps on my post and Virginia State Parks. And then there was a picture taken. I was in my AmeriCorps gear, and the interpretive ranger, she was doing old-timey I was doing old-timey games, and she was doing a touch table in the day use area. So they snapped a picture of us, and that picture is still used for the park and everything. So
That's pretty cool.
it's just like, yay, I did something.
Wow. So, I mean, that's amazing, I think. I mean, hearing the story, you know, you did all these things and you could have been totally bitter, but you're like, here are some great things that came out of the program. Yeah, I mean, that's amazing. I'm sitting here and you light right up talking about it too. So, I mean.
Oh, I had a lot of fun. And I still go out and visit the park. I have a great park family out there, even though a lot of people have left and some have moved up, others have moved out and grown. I still keep in contact with some of them. Some of them reach out to me saying, hey, really wish you were doing this because remember this. So.
What park specifically?
Bear Creek Lake.
Bear Creek Lake. Okay. You probably said that, but yeah, but.
Oh, you're good.
So Bear Creek Lake is, where is that exactly? What county?
Cumberland County.
Okay. All right,
it's in the middle of the Cumberland State Forest.
I'm trying to think of, yeah, there's one out in Withville. It reminds me of that name. I can't think of the name of it, but I'll have to look it up.
Yeah, well, Virginia just came out with 40 plus parks. Two of them, I think it's 42 state parks they now have.
Wow.
But when I started, it was like either 36 or 38 with the state park. So they've opened up one near Shenandoah, and then they opened up one that I actually just visited the other day, and that's just south of York River State Park.
Yeah, we've always done some camping and stuff. You know, we tent camped, and now we got a actual camper, but travel trailer. But yeah, we love the state parks.
Yeah.
In Virginia,
They're
and
glamping now.
Oh, yeah, they're a lot of fun.
Yeah, we're clamping instead of
Glamping, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, you get older, but so I mean, we've been in a tent for a couple of days. I know how hard that is. So I can't imagine the 6-week time.
So
Now, was it like a big, like an 8-person tent, or was
no, a 2-person tent.
Oh.
I had enough room to fit. So I had a memory foam mattress, a twin size memory foam mattress. It was big enough to fit that in my trunk. That was my closet, my table, my storage unit, so to speak.
Yeah.
And then I had a few things in my Jeep at the time. So it was big enough to have that. And in the time frame, in the last like 2 weeks of when I was in, we had the biggest storms that month. So I had my birthday in a tent followed by some severe storms. So I was so scared that everything was going to flood. I was going to lose the tent or anything. But no, when we had those storms and stuff, the friend I had who was the interpretive ranger I was just talking about, she invited me out. We became really close friends. She invited me out to stay at the house and everything.
Oh, that's
so
nice.
I was like, oh, yay.
Yeah, man. So I mean, I don't want to dwell on this too long, but so when you were in this tent for 6 weeks, I mean, was there a time it was like you were like, how am I still going? What's keeping me going? With not like suicidal, but just like this is no fun.
Yeah, I've actually had that. I thought I was at the end of my rope. Like, where am I going to go from here?
Right. Yeah, that's tough. And then you found out about the school thing.
So it was just like, okay, I have to figure something out. And at that time, it was very heartbreaking with the family, and it was just trying to figure out me in the sense. And it was just like I felt like I had nobody.
Right.
But after finding out I couldn't go to school or anything, I called my great-grandmother and my grandmother who live in Powhatan County, one county over. I was like, hey, I talked with the park and I was like, since I can't go back to school and y'all took the bunkhouse off the site for 2 weeks while I was waiting 2 or 3 weeks, can I apply to be what was it? A technician. It was that's probably not the term of it, but I was housekeeping and a maintenance ranger. So I would bounce between housekeeping and maintenance depending on what was needed for the day, or I did both. So once I got told, yeah, we'll hire you for this part and get you started and everything, I called my grandmother and I was like, hey, can I stay with you for a little bit? So I stayed with my great-grandmother for about a month, and I was on my way to work one morning and I rolled my Jeep.
Goodness gracious.
Lost control of it, going into a sharp curve because somebody was over the yellow line, and I tried to move,
overcorrect.
but I didn't really overcorrect. I moved over into the farther outside of my lane, and the tail end of my Jeep, tail end of my Jeep caught loose gravel that morning, and I went into a ditch, fishtail to the right, came back out of it. Of course, I turned into it, got it back up onto the road, fishtail to the left. And then next thing I know it, what was on my right was in front of me. So I saw road. Here's the yard because it was a converted ditch.
Wow.
I saw that and I saw a tree cross my arms. It's like, sail. Rolled twice. Yeah, I rolled twice and my Jeep was done.
Wow.
But I was able to get out. I had my seatbelt on. So my seatbelt kept me in. So I had to undo myself from being upside down, backed out. Gas was leaking, so no fire or anything. But now I'm like, how am I going to get to work?
Wow.
What am I going to do? So I couch surfed for a little bit after that. No significant injuries or anything like that.
I was going to ask, were you injured? Yeah.
I had a bump on my shoulder that was just from the impact of rolling because I rolled from left to right. Well, right over left. I was sore from where the seatbelt was, and where I crawled out had some glass on my arms. That was about it. But other than that, walked away from it, couch surfed for a little while, and then what did I do with that? My dad, by that point, had moved in with a family friend. So they had a spare room. Stay with us, and of course, my dad and my stepmom were trying to figure things out, and family friend had another house. They were just working on it. So they're like, hey, just stay here and the house is fine. I can move back in. So thinking the family was getting back together, and then it went right back down in the toilet. So then I called some additional family, and I took them up on their offer. They're like, we know that you're not in a really good situation. You got nothing going on. Come out here. There's more opportunity out here, which is Midlothian. So I was with them for 4 years.
Oh, good. Yeah.
And then in that time frame, I worked for the fitness industry. I worked for Gold's Gym for about 2 years. Went into law enforcement. I got hired with Division of Capitol Police in Richmond.
Right.
That didn't work out. And then I went to Cabela's, which is in Short Pump, worked there for a little bit, and then I got back into Virginia State Parks. So, and when I got into the Virginia State Parks aspect of it, I was working in the headquarters. So I was the one that you would call to set up your campsites, your reservations for the cabins, the pavilions, your parking passes, all that good stuff. And then COVID happened. So I teleworked for about 4 months going into that, and I was like, yeah, no, I need a big girl job. I need insurance. If I want to get the hell up out of this attic that I'm living in, I needed to do something. So a few years prior, when I was working for Gold's Gym, I actually reached out to one of my fraternity brothers. Yeah, me of all people joined a sorority while I was in college. So let's just say I needed girlfriends, but the perk was I got some really cool brothers.
Yeah.
So
worked out.
Oh, yeah, it definitely worked out.
Now, what Gold's Gym did you work at?
The one in Midlothian,
okay,
right off of 288.
Because my brother-in-law, he's the manager at the one in Meadowbrook.
Meadowbrook?
Yeah,
so,
off Chippenham.
So Meadowbrook's actually one of the smaller locations.
Yeah.
So those are the ones you can do a day pass or something like that. It's not a contract. So you can, it's a month to month.
It is month to month, yeah.
So the one I worked at was one of the big 4. It's Midlow, Arboretum, Weston, and then it was one of the big 3, and then they opened up Gayton off of Gayton Road. So that one was the big one where you signed up for a year or 2 contract.
Okay.
Yeah.
Met a lot of cool people in the fitness industry too.
Yeah.
Still in contact with them. I got to meet Sydney Gunst, who is the one that started like Innsbruck and everything.
Oh, wow.
So he was like one of my favorite like early birds.
Yeah.
So he'll run out after he's done boxing with one of the personal trainers, and he'll run out. He's like, "Put this on my tab," one of his protein shakes. And then a bunch of the early birds invited me out to Hardywood to go hang out and everything. And when I found out that Sydney passed, all of us got together and went back out to Hardywood, and it was just like, this is nice.
Yeah, that is awesome.
Dang.
But no, yeah, I worked for Gold's Gym for a little bit. Thought I was going to move up and do something with that, but I got pretty much cut off from moving up. So it's just like, okay, got to do something else. But anywho, when I was with Virginia State Parks, about 2 years after leaving Gold's, I reached out to one of my fraternity brothers again, because at the time when I was working for Gold's, I put in an application to work for the Department of Corrections. So going back for the state. And I had just like this feeling, I guess my intuition kicked in, that this is not a good time to move into it. So, and I was like, yeah, I don't think I'm mentally prepared for that, because I was at the time like 22.
The first time, you mean, yeah.
Yeah. So, secured an interview, and this facility had to do a physical with it, because I think it was it wasn't Greenville. I think it was Powhatan. Yeah, it was Powhatan, the men's facility. So I pulled my application from that, and I was like, no, I'll wait until I'm a little bit older, thinking I can handle the mindset of being locked in with inmates as well.
Yeah, a little scary.
A little scary, but I also knew that I was still trying to figure out me.
Yeah.
And that I knew I was mature enough to do that, but not to the extent of being able to handle myself in those situations. I knew I was able to handle myself for a lot of it, but I was like, after a couple of stories I've heard from people who are correctional officers, who are jailers, I was like, yeah, no.
Did you have family in it, or was it just through the fraternity brother and...
No, I didn't have any family in any type of law enforcement. They were on the other side of the wall.
That's right.
If you said if you get a criminal justice degree.
Right. I forgot about that.
Yeah. But no, I had friends on the other side, but I also had the mindset that I wanted to be in law enforcement because I wanted to be the hero that I needed growing up.
Right.
So with that, and I always thought like the TV shows were like really cool and everything.
That's right.
But no, so... my connection was my fraternity brother. He was in probation and parole for Henrico County. So he reached out to me and he's like, hey, T, go ahead and do this. And I was like, okay. And then when I decided that I needed to get back and get a full-time job so that way I can get my life started and everything, like figure it out and just pick something and run with it for a while.
Yeah.
I reached out to him. He's like, this is like my last string I got to pull for you. So I applied and... with the facility out in Goochland County. So all of these counties I've mentioned are like fairly close to each other. Like they all touch at some point.
Yeah.
I applied for a women's facility in Goochland and VCCW, Virginia Correctional Center for Women. Applied there, and the person who interviewed me knew my fraternity brother. So they were able to chit-chat right before I came in. And I was like, hey, I'm looking for the opportunity, move forward. And they're like, oh, great. Guess what? Here you go. I was like,
easy.
I was like, that was easy. I thought going with the state, because I applied for state troopers and everything. I almost got in with the state troopers, but due to them not knowing that I had a tattoo on my hand nor on the back of my neck.
Yeah, I remember this now, yeah. That's when you were at the academy. Yeah, I remember this coming up, yeah. I mean, you told the story. This is when you were at the academy, yeah.
Yeah, so when I met you, it was like 2 months after I applied for... state police.
Yeah, literally
That's what did it?
This was what did it. Literally, so for those who are just listening, I have a rose tattoo on my thumb.
Yeah, just on the thumb.
Just on the thumb. The ones on my wrist, they're those are my newest additions. But the one on my wrist, I got shortly after moving in with my family in Midlothian. And this is for my mom, and I'll tell you all about that later. But I came in for my interview, and of course, they lead you into the headquarters to do your interview and all. So the person who interviewed me was walking in front of me, didn't see that I had a tattoo on the back of my neck. So with that, everything was going good. And at the time, I cut my hand on some boxes at work. Like 2 days prior, so I had a Band-Aid wrapped around it. Oh. So when we got to the part about the tattoos and everything, and I was like, well, I have one here, but I cut my hand. That's why there's a Band-Aid on it. And they're like, oh, you don't have to remove it. And I already ripped off the Band-Aid. And I was like, here you go. That's what's on my hand. And then like, you have one on the back of your neck? And I was like, yeah. What? Like, they didn't comprehend that I had one. And I was like, well, sir, you walked in front of me the entire time. And for being my background investigator, I'm surprised you didn't see that part. But okay.
Plus, you have long hair, right?
Oh, I had my hair up
gotcha.
for the interview.
Gotcha.
So with that, so they could see it and everything. But I got to meet one of the head recruiters. And I actually had a couple of state troopers who, through Gold, told me to apply and everything. When I told them I couldn't get in, they were really mad. They hated the recruiter that they had. So if you're listening, I'm sorry, no. They said wait another year or two and apply again. But they really hammered down on this one. They're like, are you going to wear a glove? Are you going to reapply the makeup and everything after being outside for 6 hours in the rain dealing with something? And I'm like, the amount of people law enforcement deals with, I'm pretty sure a tattoo. But then again, state police are high and tight. They wanted that professional look, so I understood. But I was like, I can't afford to remove it, but I know I'm going to afford the Band-Aids. I'll buy stock in them if I have to, or the makeup. So I'm fine with it. But if it's something I have to do, I'll go through it. But I can't do that until I'm on your payroll. They're like, no. I was like, okay. All I had to do was a behind the wheels test, and then I was in.
So that was the deciding factor?
My tattoos.
Yeah, I would have just like put on like a Michael Jackson glove or something.
Well, they have the fingerless gloves that are like dry fit and everything.
I'm just kidding. But I'd be like, hey, if the issue is this, yeah. Which you should have said, just cut my thumb off and let's get busy.
No, this is the business hand, okay?
Yeah, but
I can't shoot left-handed.
That would have been cool. That would have showed your dedication. Man. Yeah, I'd have been like the Michael Jackson. They had that silver glove, man.
Wasn't it white?
It was a white glove.
Yeah. Well,
it was a white glove followed by a silver glove.
Yeah.
Oh.
But you had like a little glamour shit. What is it called? When people decorate stuff?
Glitter.
Yeah.
I'm slow, but yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah, glitter glove, man.
Cool.
Wow.
I don't know if they'd like that either, though.
Yeah, I could just see a black glove. I mean, and maybe but I mean, you know what though?
It all worked out for me.
Yeah, I think that
everything's worked
for a
out.
reason.
Listen to your story to this point. First of all, I'm blown away. I mean, I knew some of it, but I didn't know all, even just this part of it. And it's like the tenacity and then the drive you had to push forward. Mm-hmm. I mean, that says a lot about you, man. And we haven't even really gotten to the hardest part of your life, really.
No, I think in between of high school going up to right before I got back with the state full time with my corrections gig, I think that was like the hardest time going from living in a tent to I am living with family to I am bouncing jobs, trying to get my foot in the door, pretty much chase the dollar sign just to get myself up and going and make sure I'm taken care of. It was so much. But what was it? In the time frame that I was in college, just backtracking a little bit. So I went into college in 2014. 2016 is when I came back, and that Christmas, so Christmas 2015. I said that I have a stepmom, and then my mom and I didn't have a really good relationship. So December 2015 was the first time I saw my mom in about 3 years, because I was told she washed her hands of us. She moved on, whatever. And I was like, okay. Come to find out, that was just all a facade. She still knew what my brother and I were doing. She was sending my grandmother money or our birthday and Christmas gifts to her and stuff like that. It was just my mom was trying to get herself taken care of. Again, she was 15 when she had me.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
So with that was the first time I seen her, and at this point she was married. She seemed very well taken care of, and we were working on our relationship, especially now that I was older and I can actually speak for myself. I didn't have to live underneath the thumb of my dad and my stepmother. So I was just like, okay. And then I lost my mom in March of 2016. Got the call that my mom's missing. So I was in school. I was just walking across campus because with my lifeguard certification, it was good for 2 years. I lifeguarded at the school through the YMCA when I was in school. Came back and I got the call, and I walked into my room, and at the time I was with a sorority sister. She saw my face go white, and she's like, "What's wrong?" It's like, my mom's missing. Like, nobody's heard from her or anything like this. And so I let that sink in. I was like, well, my mom's a gypsy soul anyway. She's always moving somewhere. So I was like, no. And then it really sank in that she went missing. And then October of that year, her case went from missing to homicide. Come to find out, her husband that I met one time was beating on her. So she was a domestic, it was a domestic pretty much. Found out over time that he's actually put her in a hospital a couple times. She had a collapsed lung, busted up face.
Nice.
So I didn't know that, but I was so mad.
Yeah,
I was so mad. I was ready to go out and go find him, like full on revenge and all this. And I was just like, no, I can't do that because of what I wanted to do with my life. But no, losing her, it actually sucked because we were working on having the relationship and everything. And I was like, I got my mom back. I'm actually going to have my mom in my life. And then I lose her. And I'm like, nah, I didn't lose her. She's just off running around. No, you lost her. So the rose tattoo I have on my hand, I got it when I was at, again, another figuratively at the end of my rope. I didn't think I was going to get into any agencies or anything like that, all of the big girl jobs, as I put it. And I was like, screw it, I'm going to get a hand tattoo. There goes my bank job. So I got a rose tattoo on my right hand. My last name's Wright. That's my mom's maiden name. My mom had rose tattoos, and for the longest time, I hated roses. But if you get really into it, it's like the rose, very beautiful, but also has a thorny stem. So with that, Mom and I pretty much look like sisters, but we both have a little wild attitude. So with that, it makes sense. So she always wore that was weird.
We both,
she wore a thumb ring all the time, but due to me being outside and always working with my hands, I didn't want to deglove myself. So I went with the rose. So Mom had rose tattoos. I put the rose on my right hand and on my thumb. So when I put my hand over my heart, she's with me.
Okay.
So that's what I did. And till this day, we still don't know where she's at. No clue as to where her body could be. The man responsible for it, it pretty much is her husband in my book, but he was arrested in the time frame once for fraudulent accounts using my mom's bank card and it going into the hundreds of dollars in the negative and everything. And this was well after she went missing. And he was doing this all from work, and he says he was active duty, but I'm guessing it wasn't like deployable soldier for the Air Force, I think it was. He was working at one of the bases in West Virginia. All of this took place in West Virginia. So that's where they pinned it, and everything was paying bills or using it for fun stuff as well. So he got arrested for that, but made bond like a week later. And then finally some things came through to where we actually had a witness to tell about the domestics and everything with that and how everything was happening and what my mom was telling them because she used him as a confidant. And I think it was just a family friend or something like that. But he ended up passing away because once he got arrested for being the prime suspect of her murder, he was in jail for a year and a half before he finally got his trial because of COVID and everything. And in this time frame of him being in jail, I got hired with the Department of Corrections with the facility out in Goochland. So I was moving forward with that. And then when I was in the academy, so it's a little bit different from law enforcement, patrol, and what jailers go through. So for corrections, it's you get hired, you do a little bit of shadow, and then because you can only do but so much and you can't be exposed to the inmates until a certain point once you have certain like training and everything. So once we got the schedule for the pre-academy, it's pretty much a month-long academy that you go to. You get the rundown of the policies and procedures, a little bit of physical activity. You learn how to march and all that. So this is just a slow introduction. And then I was in that part of it. So I was probably in for about a month and a half when I got the notification that he was going to have his court, to have his trial. And come to find out, the man I was just telling y'all about, he passed away. So it went from one of the I couldn't remember, it's been a while, but it was one of the manslaughters. And since we lost the witness, it switched to another one. So it went from being a max of 18 years or so. For it switched to the max of 3 years. And since he's already served a year and a half, he's got that credited to him.
Right.
So only had to serve a year and a half. And then shortly after that, I graduated the main academy, which was 6 weeks, and got the notification that he got out on good behavior. So I'm like,
That's terrible.
so less than 2 years for murder of my mom, but he hasn't said anything, no nothing. He still lives in the county. Sold everything that my mom had, which my mom barely had anything but what she had. She was still like growing up and everything. All of that's gone. So I have nothing of my mom really,
Right.
besides a handful of like photos and stuff. So
Yeah.
with that, it's been hard because of everything since then. And to the females listening to this, they'll understand of having the moments where you want your mom.
Sure. Yeah.
So, but that has been definitely a big trial for me.
Well, that's just, yeah. That whole thing is hard to take in. But it's even harder to imagine that he only got, just that one witness was the one turning point for him, I guess.
Pretty much. It was
That's
that.
wild.
We had 2 candlelight visuals for my mom. We've done, I didn't get the chance to participate because of school and not having the money to go out there and everything, but going from Franklin County, Virginia to the Summersville area, West Virginia, they did searches and everything, but knowing West Virginia going down a dark tunnel, she could be at the bottom of a coal mine shaft. Or the river took her away, one of the two. But we haven't found her. He hasn't said anything, so it's still left unsolved.
Right. Well, I mean, you have your memories of your mom, but it's hard. But I mean, I know you would like to talk to her, so it makes it tough, particularly at the times you want to talk to her the most. How about, do you and your stepmother get along pretty good, or somebody?
No.
Oh, I didn't know. Maybe she's
Not anymore. At one point, we were really close, but then again, you're growing up in a divorced family and everything,
Yeah.
so you learn as you grow up, like
Sure.
who's truly the bad person in it. So I don't have a relationship with my stepmother anymore, and that's been
Right.
for a while.
Yeah.
And I don't speak to my father anymore. So that's been going on for the last 2 years where I haven't spoke to my father. But other than that, I still have my grandmother. I
Right.
lost my great grandmother a little over a year ago. She was in her 80s, so the dementia and then pneumonia got her on that. But I still have my grandma. I go and see her pretty frequently, so she's pretty much her only grandbaby, really.
Right. Well, it's nice to have her though.
Oh yeah. So outside of that, that's the only family I have out here on my mom's side. Everybody else is out in West Virginia, mom and dad's side. And then one of my dad's brothers actually is North Carolina. So.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's a lot to take in.
Yeah. Y'all need a minute. I understand.
No, I mean, I knew some of it, but, not the whole story. But I mean, I think through it, I mean, you're still going. So, what I mean by that is you're successful now. You got a new job we'll talk about. And then you told us you're in a relationship, and that through that relationship you've discovered certain things about yourself. But I mean, this may sound corny, but I mean, I've always been praying for you. I'm gonna pray for you.
Yeah, and you've told me that since we've known each other. So, and I do appreciate that. Since we met in the academy, you're out of the instructors that I had in the academy. The main ones have pretty much stayed in contact with me. So I still talk to you. I still talk to Hart. I still talk to DC.
Yeah.
A couple of the people through the academy class I still follow, and I've seen a few here and there. So we still chit chat here and there. So a lot of people are still doing good.
Yeah, I think that, you know, I know people were like, what is he talking about? But, you know, we had you, like, I mean, I'm not advertising this, but we had you here for Thanksgiving a couple of years ago, and that offer still stands. You can contact us anytime, and you're you know, part of our family.
I appreciate it. And yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I can give you a call anytime.
Yeah, that's real.
Yeah.
Real talk. Yeah, when you came over that day, you had to go to work that night. You were still in corrections.
Yeah, so I thought you had gotten off work and you just came to see, and then you're like, all right, got to go do my shift. I was like, damn.
Yeah, no, I wasn't getting off work. I was just going to work. So,
yeah, but what was cool about it was like, was JC here or something? Who was here? Somebody when they saw you in uniform, they took off running and thought they were like one of Eric's friends. He's always like, you know, like
that wouldn't be the first time.
Like a low level criminal, man. He's like, what the? Yeah, I don't think you saw him. He took off through the woods.
Probably.
No, I ain't gonna do nothing to you. You're fine.
She's not on the clock yet. She's okay.
No, just don't let the uniform scare you.
But yeah, he looked shocked. He was like, "What the hell is going on here, man?" I don't think he even came back, did he?
I don't know.
Family lives. His sister lives back in through the woods here. There's another neighborhood back.
Yeah.
There. I don't think he ever came back.
Probably not.
Sorry.
He's probably
strange dude, man.
Yeah, no. So when I came over for Thanksgiving, it was pretty much my breakfast at that time. When I got through the academy with corrections, both academies, and I went through my field training and I got certified. I was a correctional officer. That's how you start off. At my year mark, I became a sergeant, but shortly after becoming certified, and for how well I did in the class and everything, because pre-academy, they have it too where you get to practice your squad leaders, platoon leader, and all that. So I was platoon leader for the pre-academy. And then for the main academy, they had it to where you're supposed to rotate like somebody as a vote, or at least the captains will pick who's going to be the platoon leader for the week. It rotated, supposed to rotate every week. So one of the ladies that got hired with me, she actually had to leave to go to take care of the riots that happened out in D.C. Just because she was National Guard. So the following week we had somebody else, and then they went out because they injured themselves during PT, like cracked his collar and everything. You know, him and one of my other coworkers, they were racing. So they both looked at each other when we were doing sprints, and they're like, go.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, both of them out of nowhere hit the throttle, and he didn't stop. He decided to run right into the wall. Come to find out, he said this the entire week. He did not want to be a platoon leader. He didn't want any of this. So, he injured himself, and it was out for about 6 months.
Just he got what he wanted.
Yeah. And then come to find out, captains pulled me aside like 2-3 days later and was like, hey, just giving you a heads up, you're going to be platoon leader when you come back. It's like, okay. And like, you're going to be platoon leader for the rest of the academy. And I was like, what? Come again? And they gave me the reasons why. And they're like, we see how you hold yourself accountable. You hold others accountable. The way you just carry yourself, we know that you mean business and you want to go forward. So we can see a future with this. So you're going to be the platoon leader. So it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun being the platoon leader. And in those times of being platoon leader, I got to grow not only personally, but also professionally. Yeah. So that helped out a lot. And then I think the only time I really cracked having that leadership role really was when the rack belt came out during the defensive tactics part of the training of the academy. The rack belt, it looks like a waist trainer. It's what high-end inmates wear when they go to court and everything, but you don't see it. It's underneath their jumpsuits. So it's a taser.
Okay. Yeah, I was wondering if
I'm surprised you don't know about this one.
No. We I mean, law enforcement, like, college. I wish we did have some of those, but we didn't, unfortunately.
Just in the jails.
Yeah, I think
It's mostly just for court.
It's mostly for court, so your jails and your prisons will have those.
Oh,
so
wow.
the facility that I worked at, we didn't have that high-end level security. I think we were on the cusp of a level 1, level 2. But with COVID and everything, it dropped us down to like a level 1, I think, for security. But no, so, in the police academy, of course, you get the direct hit of pepper spray.
Yeah.
So with the correction side of it, the prison system side of it, you don't do the direct hit of pepper spray. You get the secondary exposure.
Okay.
So I was like, well, if I get hit with pepper spray, I know how that's going to happen. But yeah, trust me, give me chemical agents any day.
Yeah, I agree.
Over electronics, no.
I said the same thing. Spray me with OC, man.
So
No taser.
The taser is hell, bro. I mean, we had the taser, but not the belt. But yeah, I said the same thing.
Well, fun fact, the rack belt isn't a squeeze of the trigger and it's done. Once you let off the trigger, it stops the electric flow. No, the rack belt is an 8-second ride.
Yeah, it's a long time.
Yep. Let's just say it was a long 8-second ride. It's just like bull riding. But
That is a long time.
Yeah, because the taser's 5 seconds, but it seemed like a long 5 seconds.
oh yeah. So
You actually wear the belt, right?
So I got strapped on with the belt. I didn't want to do it, but I ended up doing it because one of my coworkers, she was betting the 2 other captains that came in to watch just for shits and giggles.
So you didn't have to do it.
I didn't have to do it. I volunteered for it.
Oh, okay.
I thought I was going to be a little badass. It can be more than holding onto a hot wire as a kid with the horses. I was wrong. I was wrong. So very wrong.
So you said that almost broke you?
I broke my leadership. I broke the leader role, being like Miss
Yeah, I
Goody
got
Two
you.
Shoes. Let's just say that was the first time the class heard me cuss,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
and they saw me cry afterwards.
Yeah, that's okay.
Because you have those moments where it's just like, okay, you wanted to do this, yeah, I got this, and
Yep.
then it changes in an instant. And you're like, nope, I'm gonna roll. That's what I had, and I was like, why am I getting nervous? This is fine. I'm gonna be fine. It's only 75,000 volts. I'll be fine. They're hooking me up and everything, and it's 2 of my coworkers out of the class of 25 of us. My group for my facility, VCCW, we were the meat and potatoes of it. For pretty much VCCW and I think Greenville was the meat and potatoes of the class. So 2 of my coworkers got on either side of me and hooked me up. And then once I heard the little mini lock itself, little safe lock, clasp in the final secure.
Yeah.
I was like, uh-oh.
I don't want to do this anymore.
The captain was talking to me, and I was actually just chatting with her earlier today, and I was like, uh-oh, no. She looked at me. She's like, hey, Wright. And I was like, yes. She's like, you feeling wrong about this yet? I was like, uh-huh. So when they were hooking me up, she's like, do you just want me to hit it, or you want to count down? I was like, no, just hit it. And then she saw my face change. She's like, you ready? She hits it. I drop to my knee. Right knee goes down, and I scream,
Yep.
oh my goodness. And when I get hit or anything like that, I like suck it in and I don't breathe for a second because I'm just like,
Yeah.
yeah, no. As soon as I did that, I screamed. Foul language, let's just say that. And I
Right.
started kicking like a mule, like I wanted it off. I went to like go rip it off of me.
Yeah.
My coworker on my right, I thought I broke her hand because I twisted and like I held on tight. And the other one, I actually like elbowed away from me. So I actually joked with them right before the button got hit, like the 2 captains that just wanted to watch. I know, just for shits and giggles. I was like, are you sure you guys don't want to hold my hands? I'll be fine.
Right. Yeah.
No. And then as soon as it was done, my captain said, I was going to come up to you and tell you to breathe, but as soon as I saw you go down, nope, she wasn't breathing. Because the one before me, she was able to breathe through it, and it felt like a TENS unit to her. And I'm like, what fucking TENS unit are you using?
Wow. She's got that maxed out.
When it was done, I put my hands up and I was like, get this thing off of me. Alligator tears and everything. And
That's okay. Yeah.
Yeah. They're like, you good? I was like, yeah, I'm fine.
I didn't know those were a thing.
Yeah,
I've
they
never
were a
seen
thing.
those.
And let's just say I still have a scar on my back because I had the rack belt was over my t-shirt. So I had 2 burn marks on the right-hand side of my back. And one of them actually got infected like a couple of days later because the t-shirt got into it. But Hakuna Matata. It's all right. So I have that. And then, of course, the rack belt, you had the 2, what you see out of the movies where they go in for like cell extractions or the riots in the prisons. So there's two shields, a conclave and a enclave. Conclave and enclave. The one that's beveled out that you'll see in riots and what we used in defensive tactics in the academy.
Right.
Those are used for riots. So those are not the electric ones.
Right.
The ones that are concaved, those are used for cell extraction. So that is electric, but it's a little push of a button. So it's a little zap each time you hit the button. So we all got a little zap from that. That's enough to just launch you off of it. So we just put our shoulder up to it and it's just like, whoop,
Yeah.
like a really strong static.
Not 8 seconds.
Nope.
So when you were there, this is the place in Goochland. You stay there and stuff?
So for the state, it's actually because with the police academy that you and I met at, it's regional.
Yeah.
So for corrections, there's 2 main academies, one in Goochland, which was right up the road from the facility I was at, and the other one's out in Marion County, which is BFE, like the boot of Virginia.
Yeah.
So I went to that one, and
You went to the one in Marion?
no, the one
Goochland.
in Goochland, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I was going to ask you that because I went. So the reason I'm even asking was so I was a cop 19 years and I worked for the sheriff the last 2 years in Petersburg, Sheriff Crawford. But she sent me to the facility in Goochland and like whatever the rapid response teams are for the state.
SRT? Yeah.
That's called SRT. I went to that 2-week school, whatever, however long it was, 1 week school, and we got to do the shield, but we didn't.
Yeah.
They didn't have the belt. I wonder why they didn't do the belt. But yeah, anyway,
Because
but,
it's not part of what they do.
yeah, got you. Yeah, that shield. I mean, that's bad enough, but so when I worked in Petersburg, we didn't have the tasers. They were kind of coming out when I was leaving, when I left the PD. But when I worked, so I also worked part time in Hopewell, the radar on the they call it the $1 Million Mile.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one, yeah.
Yeah, but they had tasers, so we had to get tased, and I wanted to get tased. I was like, I got to know what it feels like. But yeah, it was 5 seconds, and it was. I did the same. I was like, they laughed, man. They laughed so hard about that shit. I was just like,
I really
I was like,
wish.
put it on you, or they have to?
they shot it
shoot
in
you
me.
with it. Yeah.
Shot me, and the guy who shot me, we used to work together in Petersburg. He was the time lieutenant. He's a captain now, and Trevor Terry. And he loved it, man. He's like, taser.
He's like, this is going to be great.
He loved it, bro. And he hit me perfect, bro. 2 hemispheres, lower and high. It's hell, bro.
Yeah.
Because you think it's going to even out. Like, you think you can handle pain. Like, this is going to, like, get to a point and stop. No, it just increases. It never decreases.
Yeah.
It just gets worse as it sadly goes on.
Yeah.
No.
That's how I felt. Like, it just got worse and worse. There was no even. I mean, I can deal with pain pretty good, but this was just nonstop. And it totally increased. That's how I felt about it. And I was like, man, OC me next time, bro. But the taser's hell, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've never been. Yeah, I'll say. Never been tased.
Yeah,
Some people don't bother.
Don't do it.
They say the less muscular people it doesn't hurt, but if you got some muscle, you're pretty muscular. It's like you feel the pain more. That's how I felt about it.
Yeah, I've just been electrocuted at work a couple of times, but that's enough for me.
No.
1 second of like, nope, don't want to do that again.
It's real. It's real.
So if you had to choose, go chemical agents.
Okay.
Because everything clears up pretty soon.
Yeah.
But no, so with the prisons, along with depending on your facility, so we got a little bit of everything. So you got your electricals, you got your chemical agents. So with that, when it comes down to the facility I worked with, one unit, which is just one level of the building or whatever, because the facility I worked at was a college at one point. So it's been remade into a facility. So my biggest units I could have up to 82 women on the floor, and it would just be me.
So one
officer,
yeah, I was going to say deputy or whatever, but one officer of 82 people.
That was the max on one of my units. Man, and then I think the max was like 84 on another one, so just 2 additional bodies. But all you have on you is your 2 Narcan, your OC, your radio, and your whistle.
2 Narcan? Mm-hmm. Can't say OD? Mm-hmm. How? That's the part I never got, man. How the hell are they getting drugs in these damn units?
So if there's a will, there's a way. Just like anybody out on the street going with any type of activity out there. But so for the internal part of it, they have what's called KOP, keep on person. That's medications that are safe to have on them. So it could be... It was a range of them, so I didn't really pay attention to that part. As long as I know it was in their foil packs that they had that were marked and labeled and everything, they were able to take those with them. But when it came to like the stronger ones, which were like the narcotics, their
opioids and stuff.
Yeah, that stuff that required to be crushed to take, or they had to actually be seen taken. Especially when it came down to mental health or any type of health issues that they had to go to pill line in order to take. So. People would cheek them. The ones who had dentures would try to move it underneath their denture. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I love it, bro.
Yeah. So
human ingenuity, man.
Now, when it comes to the women, I will say if there's a will, there's a way, but they are very freaking creative.
Yeah.
Men, on the other hand, let's just say, to sum it up, they only got a couple of options when it comes down to that, but they also have a code on the inside, men's code when it comes down to certain things. Everybody like has their clique or whatever that it could be. With the women, there's nothing. Everything's free game.
Yeah. So there is no like unity. Women, there is no like, Bloods or Crips and all like that. Mm-mm. Wow. Dang, so there's no loyalty at all then?
No loyalty at all. I had
that's scarier.
It is. But no, with the drugs, couple of the instances to where either I was reporting and requesting for medical assistance and backup, or I was responding to it. A lot of it was drug related. I just got on to shift, so I mentioned earlier, I know I'm kind of all over the place with details, but shortly after I became certified, I got to choose. That's where we were going with it. Smoke train, come back around. I got to choose what shift I wanted, which was either day shift or night shift. So when I was doing my field training, I did day shift, but of course I had to do a week of nights.
Right.
I love nights, less cooks in the kitchen. You actually had to think for yourself because it was limited of resources and everything. But also it was less movement going on. So I got to see a lot more of the housing unit activity versus like compound movement.
Sure.
So with that, I got onto nights, and I was strictly night shift. I went in like once or twice to help out day shift on one of those days when I actually like somehow they called me and they're like, "We really need your help just for breaks or something." I was like, "Yeah, sure, I'll come in. Why not?" I mean, I had nothing else to do. But no, there's no loyalty when it comes to the women. What was it? The incident I was telling y'all about. Shift just started, so my shift starts. Technically, I need to be in muster by 5:45 p.m. Count for me is 6 p.m. Mm-hmm. So that's when we need to be on all our posts, do a head count and everything. So after we do the count, I had to draft a day shift sergeant because he was on the draft list with his unit, with his crew. And I had him helping me breaks on the 2 buildings that I was over. So I was over 2 of the larger buildings that also had a couple of our communities in it, like cognitive therapeutic, also our intake unit and re-entry unit. So those are more of the troublesome ones, and those are also that had the usually maxed out with their inmates for the units. I was getting ready to walk in because he was doing the upper buildings and I was doing the lower end. I was getting ready to walk in to do the lower end break for building 4, and then I get a call over the radio and I hear I need medical assistance on 28 needs medical assistance. And I had the door open, keys in hand, and I slam it shut, run back to the car. I pick up a sergeant on the way that was running. We get to that building, had to shut down the unit. Inmate ended up seizing or overdosing, one of the two. We couldn't tell because we knew she was also one of our seizure inmates, so we couldn't tell exactly, so we thought she was seizing. No, she ended up ODing, started to go into seizure-like activity. She fell off her top bunk, and we pretty much had to carry her out of the unit. So with me responding, medical was shortly right behind me. So me and the day shift sergeant, he was at the cell where the inmate was, and I was locking down everybody, clearing them out. Got her into the car. The nurse puts her in the back seat. She gets up in the front seat, lays her seat down so we can figure out what's going on with her. And I love the nursing unit, the crew that came in. As soon as I knew who was working, I was like, all right, we got the dream team. This is the A-team. If anything goes wrong, we're good. We're golden. So we're trying to figure it out. And this inmate, she ended up urinating on herself at some point. So that was just gross. But no, she was semi-conscious and everything. She was more concerned of getting in trouble for what she was doing. And at that point, I was pretty much very well established as a sergeant. I was very well known as the officer as I was. So when they saw me, they knew things were going to get done, but also not to pull any bullshit with me too. So I had that good rapport with the inmates. So when I was going down to the lower unit where the medical unit was, I can't remember the inmate's name, but I was like, hey, we don't care. Right now, your life is in danger because we don't know what you've taken.
Right.
So what did you take? Tell the nurse what you took. And she's like, no. I'm like, that's Sergeant Wright. You can tell me. Right. If not, you're going to end up in the hospital, and this is not going to be a fun ride. So we finally get her into the medical unit, had to pick her up, and that's when I realized she, urinated on herself. I smelt it earlier, but I couldn't tell, what side of it was on her. So when I get to, she was, a heavier set woman. So I get her out, we get the wheelchair, and she, kind of sits on my leg because I had to brace her coming out. Entire left leg. So, this is just gross. Finally get her in and everything, and she took a cocktail of pills, a mixture of her roommates, a few that she bought from a couple of people that cheeked or kept some, slipped some. Yeah. Took a cocktail of them, and it counteracted with her seizure medicine. So with that, she had a bad reaction to it. So that was one of the big ones on that. So thankfully, we didn't have to send her out to the hospital because we were able to monitor her and get her taken care of. Yeah. And the nursing staff is like, no, she's fine. It's just counteracted with her medication she already takes.
Yeah, it's definitely those numbers are dangerous, and then also just the anything you can encounter. Like you said, all you have is a few items to work with on your tool belt. So,
and luckily, I never had to pull OC. I never had. I also had cuffs on me too. So, never had to use the OC. I never had to use the Narcan. The times that OC and Narcan was used was after I left the unit, or I was getting ready to come on to shift, and I heard about what happened in one of the two buildings that I was over, and I was like,
so you were handling business.
Yeah. What was it? Another time I was telling y'all about this earlier before we sat down was the 19-hour shift I was on. And I almost had that fight break out when I was hitting hour 15, 16.
Yeah, that's
dangerous, man.
Well, as you know, when it comes down to being on the force, being on the street for a while, you hear all the stories of where somebody comes home from the military, somebody just retired from the road, something happens to them. Always safe, had close calls and everything on the road and all. Overseas, went to war, come home, something happens. So when I put in my 2 weeks with the Department of Corrections, after being with them for almost 2.5 years, that's when things got hairy.
You mean within the facility, or
within the facility? Yeah.
So you were still working, or you were getting out of there?
I was still working. I had put in my 2 weeks, so I had my scheduled shifts left and everything. So in the last 2 weeks, that's when everything went haywire. You know how they say, oh, it must be a full moon out tonight?
Right.
It was that for 2 weeks straight. It felt like there was constant fights on day shift. It was somebody trying to do something on night shift. It was constant medical appointments gone wrong or ER runs, and we were short-staffed. So with that, I came in the only time where I felt like I was in danger, my life was in danger, out of the other like fights I've broken up, out of the drug instances I came across and everything. The only time I felt like my life was on the line, it didn't hit me until after the situation. I was handling the re-entry unit. So that's where inmates go about 6 months left out of their sentence because they're getting their home plan together. They got a little bit more freedom, a little bit more leeway when it comes down to certain activities and stuff like that. So with that, this older lady, she could have been my grandma. Okay. Whole incident, to keep it long story short, all about giving somebody her little JPay, her little radio to somebody.
Wow.
Which now that's contraband. So, and then this inmate that she let borrow took it off the unit with her and let somebody else borrow it and then lost it apparently. So she was like raving mad. And then she said that she purposely has not been taking her medication, but it's like, you've been going to pill line. So why are you not taking your medication if you've been taking it?
Right.
She was threatened to get her in the showers, threatened to just do some type of bodily harm. And at one point when I was like, you know what, if you're going to be upset about this, I don't want to hear another word about you because you already got yourself in trouble. You lost your JPay. You ain't getting that back. It's already contraband. You just admitted to contraband. And now you're admitting to purposely hurt somebody on the unit. So you're just hurting yourself at this point.
Right.
So I was like, you lost it. I don't want to hear nothing else about it. If it's an issue, that's fine. She was getting ready to go to bed and everything, so I just closed her door because all of this was taking place at her cell door after I just handed out mail. And she comes out when I said, all right, I don't want to hear another word about it. Walked away. I turned around and she's standing in a stance to where both hands were, the door was kind of blocking her right side. She was standing to where she was kind of facing forward, eyes like looking up, and her hand was out by her side. And I was like, that's a fighting stance.
That's right.
All right. It's like, okay, what you going to do? I looked right at her and I was like, what you going to do? Go to bed. I don't want to hear nothing else out of it. It was just like, you ain't going to do nothing. Later that shift, that was about 7:30, 8 o'clock at night. We just getting started. About 4 a.m. Oh, trust me, she gave the officer on the unit hell for the rest of the night, too. And that officer's been doing this for like 18-some years at this point, so in one ear and out the other. Try to help her, but she wasn't seeing it. She turns over about 4 a.m. She's like, Officer Bowles, this is what the officers tell me, you're going to want this. Hands her over through the control room door a shank she had taped underneath her bunk. It was a kitchen knife. It wasn't like the official kitchen knife. It was the plastic orange one. It was already wrapped and everything. You can start to see where the grid marks, the tooth marks on it were starting to like fade. So she hasn't really done much to it, but she turned over a modified object to where it could be used as a weapon. And when I found that out, because I ended up taking post at that point, and then I was running like 3 posts at that point due to being short-staffed that night. I was medical, I was front gate, and I was also roaming patrol.
Goodness gracious.
I was doing all kinds of running. I didn't find that out until that evening when we came back in, because I was going to write her up a charge to get her in trouble for that and everything, threaten me with bodily language.
Sure.
But come to find out, it wasn't going to stick or anything once I wrote it. And I was like, you know what, whatever. It's fine. Because I was like, okay, we're getting serious about this. And I found that out, and I was like, no way. It's this close.
Yeah, that's scary.
Oh, I was amped up. You would have thought I got hit with the Iraq belt again, because but I wasn't about to cry on this one. I was amped up, like, oh my goodness, my life was on the line right there. I didn't know she had that in her hand or not.
Sure. Yeah.
So I was like, I have two or three more shifts left, and I'm like, wow.
Yeah. Well, luckily you made it out of there alive or uninjured. I mean, it definitely takes a toll, and we never know, when we think bad things happen to us and we wonder why those things happen, we never know what the other side of it is. Mm-hmm. So we wonder if God's looking out for us or whatever your, higher power is. It's like, hey, we don't know what's at work behind the scenes. You follow me?
Yeah.
It's like so many things that happened in my life, and it seemed like the worst things at the time, and then all of a sudden it ends up being a blessing later in life. Mm-hmm. It makes you the person you are, and it makes you humble and makes you reconsider your life. Mm-hmm. So, you got out of there, and then you're currently working. I don't know if you can say where you're working or not. But.
Oh, yeah. Well, before I get into that, the reason I said I left the Department of Corrections just sounds... Because at one point, I was actually on the phone with DC one night, because I gave him a call, and I was like, hey, I made sergeant.
Oh,
I'm like,
yeah,
you marked everything. And he was up that night. I think he was still on patrol that night. So I gave him a quick call when I was on my break. I said, I found my niche. I'm going to retire from here. I want to move up. I want to be a firearms instructor. I want to be a captain at the academy. I want to teach.
Bingo.
Oh, yeah. I was like ready to rock and roll. And I was going to move over to be in the admin part of it, because in the pre-academy, one of the recruits said that I was going to be the next warden. And then I heard that consistently. Somebody random would say, oh, you're the next warden. Dang. I was like, why not? And I wrote that down in my notebook, and I was like, warden one day, question mark.
That's right. Hey.
So I was going to work my way up through that. And then I realized that what I wanted out of life was a family, and to be able to be present in my family's life. So nobody wants to date a prison guard, let alone a night shift prison guard. So I had to make myself available to the dating pool, So with that, I ended up putting in my 2 weeks shortly after meeting my current boyfriend. We're coming up on a year and a half now, and he's one of my blessings. I have to say, everything I've been through has been a blessing, has led me up to this, has definitely reformed me, smoothed out a few rough edges for me. Mm-hmm. But props to him, because for the last 4 or 5 months I was in DOC, we were dating at that point, and he was like worried every night. It was so hard for him just trying to talk to me.
I bet. Yeah. I mean, we so often don't think about the spouses when you're on the other side of this profession, law enforcement, military, firefighters, everything. Yeah, and I can't imagine, man. I mean, if my wife, because she's a nurse, but if she was in corrections or something, I mean, I'd be going crazy, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was worried, and with me being open and everything about it, I didn't really see the issue of sharing what happened on the shift with my spouse or with somebody that is close to me. And I realized like how much of a worry that was on him.
Sure. Yeah.
And plus, he's a little bit more on the sensitive side. So with that, I was like, I can't exactly share everything. And now I understand why a lot of, because I have all friends in types of jobs, and they're like, yeah, this is why I don't tell them anything. And it made sense then. Yeah. But he is so glad I'm out of there.
Yeah. It's a double-edged sword. So, I mean, you try to, like we talked about before we came in here, you found somebody and you said you were able to find yourself with the help of another person. I mean, I'm kind of paraphrasing, but I don't know if you want to say what you said, but if you remember.
Oh, yeah. So I didn't realize how much more healing I needed to do from everything that came to a head as being me personally. Sure. Trying to find myself as I am today to how I am professionally and how I conduct and handle myself professionally. And then I've never had like successful relationships or anything like that. So with that, it was just like, okay, I was pretty much the house girl that shortly after being left, they were already engaged or married. So I was like, whatever. But I knew what I wanted out of life. And my boyfriend actually met in one of my previous jobs, and we just stayed friends and everything. And then one day I was in corrections still. I had my brother with me. We were walking through, so I like to go through and say hi to everybody that still worked there. Came in, gave him a hug, and I was like, look at you with a haircut. You look great, and you got a tattoo. What? You, of all people, got a tattoo. I didn't believe it. He gave me a hug, and when I went to go step away, he actually pulled me in closer, and I was like, I'm in trouble.
You knew then, right?
Yep. I'm in trouble.
That was it.
But
my man has a move.
But yeah, I was just like, yep, I'm in trouble. But no.
And he was like, I'm a lucky man.
A year and a half later, I'm surprised he hasn't left me. But no, he's held in there, and he's been in some really bad relationships and was actually just coming out of a really bad relationship. So we both pretty much have gone all in to work on not only the traumas that we have from relationships and family and childhood relationships to pretty much everything, to work on it and becoming better people and working on ourselves. Right. And at that time, I didn't realize how much baggage I had. I didn't realize how many trauma bonds I had and how to work everything out. Like, we had a discussion a couple of weeks ago, and it was just the failure of communication. And I was just like, the only way I can sum it up is I don't know how to be healthy.
Right.
There's no way. And he's like, I don't know how it is either, but we got to figure it out.
Just be honest. Mm-hmm. Be honest and talk to each other. I mean, that's my advice. I've been married for 30 some years and been with Shelly for over 40. But I mean, yeah. And don't be honest like, how do I look in this outfit? I don't mean that kind of honest. But I mean, like, and it takes time. You guys have been together, a year and a half? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I mean, I think it's a time where you can,
We're just babies compared to you.
Yeah. But what I mean is, it ain't like you've been dating a couple of weeks. So you guys are, over this hump. And now it's about, being honest with each other and just be honest, period. Honesty goes a long way. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't tell every there's some secrets that I think in my life I'm sure nobody knows, and it doesn't mean you have to tell everybody everything. But what it means is, if you have a feeling or somebody hurts your feeling, instead of holding a grudge,
you're open to discuss it.
Yeah, just tell them, hey, when you do that, it really bothers me, or it hurt my feelings or something like that. That's what I mean, that kind of stuff.
I mean, and it never goes away because Frankie and I have been together for almost 11 years now. We've been married for almost a year, but we met in college and. Every new step is the same thing. We, moving in together, getting engaged, planning the wedding. Her dad passed recently, and now we're looking for, somewhere to live. It's just like every new step you think about it, and you're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. But then if you don't really sit down and hash it out, write out every option and talk about it, then it's really just like, when you get to it, it's you're not on the same page with some things or. That causes fights. And so I've noticed it's that just talking and just being open about everything.
11 years, really? Mm-hmm. I would not have guessed that.
It seems like a long time now thinking about it because I feel like I was just in school, but yeah.
It is wild how time
we met,
goes.
so my freshman year, end of, actually January of my freshman year of college, we met. And back then I was like, I'll never date in college. Like, you want to meet people. And by April we were dating. And then ever since then, we took a 3-month break at one point, just towards the end of college. We were just mutually, we're like, we're going to take a break and we get back together 3 months later. Like, we can't live without each other. So keep it going.
You take that time to really figure out yourself because you're in college, you're young, got to figure it out.
Yeah. And then with COVID, wedding got pushed back a little bit, and she went back to nursing school, things like that. But 11 years, just
all in due time.
This April, and it's been great.
That's good.
She's my best friend, soulmate, everything else. So
it makes a difference,
yeah. So to me, it's all about communication because she's helped me with getting stuff out, but she's one that likes to kind of hold stuff in, especially if she's stressed out. She just puts a wall up and like, nope, I'm good. I feel like you're like that. You're just very just like, I'm going to push forward and just
you just described my relationship right there. So we can relate together on this one.
Yeah. And I've had to kind of break down that wall a few times just to.
And it's quite difficult, especially with the career field I've been in and with the career field she's in, it's kind of hard to like let the guards down and everything.
Because she'll come talking about the crazy surgery she did, and I don't have the stomach for that stuff, so I'm like, I don't know if I want to hear about that right now. But.
But you put on the brave face. My boyfriend is definitely the one that put on the brave face for it. But he held in on the last 4 or 5 months with me in corrections. And what I'm currently now doing, what I left the state for, is to go into sales. So I work for Rick Hendrick Chevrolet Buick GMC out in the Shore Pump area of Richmond. So coming from being on the law enforcement side, working outside blue collar jobs and stuff I've done, this is a whole new ball field for me. But I was a customer long before I became an employee, so I was like, you know what? I've done a little bit of everything. Why not? We'll wing it.
Yeah.
Reed actually was in sales, so he could relate to what I was going to go through and everything. He's like, yeah, you can definitely make a living, and as soon as you can sell something, you can sell anything. And here's a funny thing. Y'all gonna laugh at this, okay? It might turn you a little pink here, okay? So just a forewarning, nobody skinned me, okay? So I went in years ago when I first moved in with my family back in Midlothian. I went in and I was applying for jobs and everything. I had held 2 or 3 jobs at one point. And one of those I wanted to try to pick up was to work in the Chesterfield Town Center, and I applied for Victoria's Secret in pink. And it came up to working the sales floor, so they'd like, do your sales pitch on this bra or whatever. Yeah, I didn't get the job. So, so I was like, if I can't sell a damn bra, what makes you think I'm going to sell a damn car? But you got to put some years in between that and everything. So I think about that and I chuckle from time to time. So it was just like, I couldn't do that, but I can do this.
But you can sell a truck.
Yep, definitely.
Well, I mean, you're kind of, it almost makes sense. I mean, and the jobs, think what you just said, I've had all these blue collar jobs, right? And you're selling cars and trucks, and that's blue collar, man. And bras is more of a,
on the more feminine side of everything.
So you're a tough person. So I mean,
and it's actually quite funny when I go to sit down with the good old boys or somebody who just rolled off the job site or something and be like, I want this and this and then
bingo.
And I'm like, okay. And then as a lot of people joke from Cumberland, we're Cumberland crickets. So my little cricket accent came out. I was like, all right, what you want?
This
is what you're going to get.
So if I was your boss, and I'm not a salesman, but, dudes love chicks and trucks. And there's, people like us, if a guy sees a lady in a truck, like, ain't nothing better than that. Am I lying?
No.
Yeah, so, I'm saying is you could almost capitalize on all that, and then when that southern accent hits and you got the guys coming in to buy these trucks, it's just like, they're sold, man. I'm sure you've had success, but I'm not saying you couldn't sell a bra, but I think it almost makes, it's like, you dig what I'm coming from with this? Yeah.
So just like when it comes down to law enforcement and everything, it's like it's mostly a male-dominated field. Yeah. But once you get a female into it, we're able to tap into other things that the men can't.
That's right.
So with that,
the men become particularly protective of their female workmates. That's a real deal too. I'm not saying nothing's happening, but if you have a female in the squad and you're working with a group of guys, they're gonna not saying you can't do your job, but they're gonna make sure you're safe. That's just the male part of us.
And I work with a great team, and I have a couple of incidences where I was like uncomfortable for certain things because I was also new to the job, so I didn't know like how everything would go if like shit went sideways. So the guys have been very protective of me and to make sure I was like okay and stuff like that. Right. And they're like, hey, are you good? I'm getting bad vibes from this customer. You want to go on this test drive? And I was like, yeah, I got this. I'm fine. Well, we know you can handle yourself, but still, I was like, well, come on if you want to ride.
Yeah, smart. Yeah.
But I will say I've actually, the perks of being a female in the automotive industry is I've actually had one of my coworkers come and get me and it was like, hey, my customer needs a female's opinion on this, a female's viewpoint. Yeah. So I was like, oh, okay, let's go. That's great. I'm like, okay, I got to tap into the little feminine side of it because I'm more of a little edgier female than anything. So with that, it was great. We were talking about the 2 Corvettes that we had in the showroom. So it was just like, well, what do you think of this? And what about this interior? And I was like, well, what does your you're ladylike. So it went from there, and it actually helped out my coworker on the sale and everything. The lady was very well pleased, but she was just excited to have a Corvette again anyway. But
Me too.
oh yeah, and then a couple of the men that come in that are just very direct, very red, and no BS or anything like that. I've had it to where they think I don't know what I'm talking about, and then I hit them with some type of fact or how to do this, especially when they refuse to acknowledge that they're not very tech savvy with a few things because of all the technology that's now in vehicles nowadays.
Sure.
So I hit them with that, and then once my manager comes in and like greets them or something like that, or just does a little TO, a takeover to say, "Hey, thanks for coming in. I hope Tamara got you taken care of." The customer will look at me and be like, "Okay, can you show me this?" I'll be like, "Yeah,
right.
you're fine. It's okay. No reason to be shy.
Got to break them down a little bit.
It's just a little bit. I mean, I'll play hardball with you, but when you get sensitive, it's okay. It's going to be all right."
Yeah, if you throw that southern accent in you, you're going to win every time. So, so oddly enough, I mean, and won't mention names, but Eric has a friend of his, a male friend. And he spent years selling bras. He worked at Victoria's Secret.
I mean, it helps.
All through college, that's what he did.
Hey, gotta make it work.
Yeah, so
What?
he when they told me, and
I gotta
I don't
find
think
to
he-
tell you.
they're lifelong friends. I mean, they're friends since college. Again, they're lifelong friends. But I mean, I've known him for a long time too. But I was just like, wow, okay, because I thought they were pulling my leg at first. He worked at Victoria's Secret, but I mean, I was just saying, man, he was selling the shit out of some bras, man.
Yeah, one of
But
my.
he's well, never mind. I go ahead.
No, one of my.
You might hear this.
You're gonna be sitting there and be like, "Damn it, Tamara!" But no, one of my managers actually is like, "Yeah, I used to work at Starbucks," because I was picking on him about a Starbucks drink or whatever.
Right.
And I was like, "You got your Starbies today?" And he's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "You know what? You need to do this," because I was not feeling well or whatever. And this was like right before I came down with pneumonia not too long ago. He's like, "Yeah, I used to work at Starbucks," and I was like, "You? Starbucks?"
Was he a barista?
Really?
Or was he?
No, a barista. And I was like, "Wait, you? Starbies? Really?" He's like, "Yeah, it was a great way to pick up chicks and it worked." I mean,
Yeah,
There's that, yeah.
yeah, there's that. So it was just like, okay, cool deal. What
Yeah.
works, that works.
That's cool, man.
Yeah, that's what my buddy was too. I mean, it was like in college, he was working with other girls the whole time, having female customers. So,
And hey, it works out so he can figure out how women work for the most part, or at least
For the-
have, or at least be able to have them in the same corral, so to speak.
Yeah.
Now, no, sorry.
no. Now he's about to get married, and
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah, he's doing good. Yeah.
yeah,
That's really
he actually
good.
does what Dad does, the same kind of.
Yeah. He's not as good as me though. So
No.
ain't no way, bro.
No way.
But no,
Not a chance, man. Yeah, my clients. I mean, they love me, man. So.
well, that's good. Well, hey, with
Well, again, I'm an old guy, so I got some experience, some wisdom, you hope. So,
Oh, yeah. So with my switch from being a correctional sergeant to now being a saleswoman for the automotive industry, I've had a lot of growth with that. I worked with some awesome park family, as I call it, when I was working with Virginia State Parks. I've worked with another state park too at some point too, but my main park family is Bear Creek Lake. So they were great to me in that season of my life.
sure.
I had okay relationships and work relationships throughout the other jobs I was there. Cabela's was good to me to an extent. And then I had a few hands of good relationships throughout the correction side of everything.
Right.
So with that, I came into this wanting a really good work environment. I was tired of being under stress all the time and everything. I know I needed to get out of that fight or flight mode
Sure.
for
yeah.
a lot of it. So I was like, I see how the team works. Looks like an awesome team. They're going to take care of everybody, take care of each other, and also get business done. So I came in. Team's great. I love working with them. I feel like I have a bunch of
that's
brothers. We actually have a lady on the team now, so I feel like the family just got bigger.
Yeah.
Since I've been with Rick Hendrick, I've actually got to go down to Atlanta, Georgia for a little ride and drive.
Wow.
I didn't have to pay for a cent of it unless I got some souvenirs. So it was just like, so when can I go down to Georgia? Like,
Yeah.
I never thought I was going to be able to go down again. I've been down once, and that was for a wedding, but I couldn't attend the wedding because this vacation got switched. But no, got to go down to Georgia. I got to do a ride and drive with GMC and Buick. So I got to see the all-new Buick and Vista that came out. I got to test drive the 2500s because they just came out with the 6.6 gas engine. So with that, I got to do I got to pull a trailer with the 6.6 and with the 3.0 diesel. So that was a lot of fun. Got to see a lot of the features with that. Got to drive the Hummer EV.
Wow.
And do the Watts to Freedom. I don't know if y'all seen that. I'm getting into my little automotive chick here. Yeah. But the Hummer EV came out to where they do a Watts to Freedom. So, of course, from the academy, a lot of my driving came into it. Defensive driving came in. So I was got my seat ready and everything. And a couple of the instructors you've done something like this before. And I was like, yeah. So I got a little excited to drive fast and not get in trouble. Watts to Freedom, we got to go to 0 to 60 in 2.5 seconds.
Wow.
So it literally felt like we were taking off. I don't know if y'all got to ride the volcano at Kings Dominion.
Yep.
But it was like
That's what
that.
it feels like?
Mm-hmm. Got to do the crab walk, and the Atlantic Motor Speedway just increased their turns to 33%. I think it was from 28%, mid 20s to high 20s to 33%. So I got to climb up, and it felt like I was literally going straight up. Got to do the crab walk. Got to also check out the safety features for Buick. Got to test drive the 2.7 turbocharged Sierra 1500 along with the 5.3 because a lot of people don't like the 4 cylinders anymore. They don't want a sissy truck. And I'm like, okay. Well,
I got a 5.3 in my Yukon still. Yeah.
5.3 is great and everything. The main thing is it doesn't sound like a truck anymore is what I hear. And it's just you're fine. Just get in and drive it. No, I don't want to touch it. It's just like if somebody threw glitter or a pink shirt at them, they're like, ah.
So, but you did drive the turbo, right?
I got to drive both, and it was pretty much we got to launch it off the line, get it up to about 55, and then slam on the brakes. So that was a lot of fun.
Check the brakes, yeah.
So it has the same get up and go and all that. So it was a lot of fun. I mean, I don't know much about hotels or anything, but got to stay in the Marriott, and it was
That's nice. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, and not have to fight the bed with a cat.
There you go.
And my boyfriend, and just die on the bed.
Yourself.
It was great. So it was a lot of fun to go and witness that and see what's coming up. So when they have a Chevrolet one, I'm really excited to see that.
Yeah.
Hopefully I get to go.
Well, he's looking at a GMC maybe, so pick up.
Eventually.
I'll get you taken care of when you're ready.
Okay.
No, he's ready. He's going to buy it from you, I'm sure. And then I guess Frankie won't mind. So
No, she hates the truck I have now. So
no, I mean,
Don't worry, I'll take that off your hands later.
yeah, he's got a Yoda. So yeah, a little. Well, it's a 6-cylinder though, stick shift.
I got that used. It was sat on the lot forever because it was stick shift. No one would drive it.
Funny thing about standards, I'm one of the few salespeople that can drive a standard, so I pick on the guys at work who do orders and stuff with a standard. They're like, I need somebody to move my truck, and I'm like, half deal.
So,
no.
So these are grown men that can't drive a stick shift. Wow. Okay. Well,
I call it my anti-theft device for millennials because they don't know how to drive stick. So I really don't care because my car right now is a 2016 Corolla, so 6-speed. Pretty much taught myself how to drive standard growing up. So I've had this one for the last couple of years, but it's quite funny. Most my managers who know all how to drive standard, some better than others, they're the main ones that move it. So
Yeah.
it's me, one of the newer guys that just got hired that can drive, and 2 other people, one of the older heads that can drive. So one of the props with that. But
Doesn't hurt.
doesn't hurt at all.
they back up. I got this. Well, I think, man, we've gone through the whole gamut.
Pretty much. And just on a lighter note, I've never been to the Jefferson in Richmond until we had our company Christmas party there.
Oh boy.
So
that place is awesome.
it's quite fancy. I like it.
Fancy.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a nice place. I've only been there. I think I've had brunch there, but I only stayed there one night when my wife and I got married, 30 years ago. That was our honeymoon in one night at the Jefferson.
And that's what Frank and I did the night after, the second night after our wedding. We went there and stayed.
Nice.
And then
I
my
haven't
daughter
stayed
did too.
And then
yeah.
Megan and Tommy did it too.
Yeah, but then we had a honeymoon 10 years later. But anyway, but that's great. I mean, I think that your story certainly is, informative, and this is what this is about. But I mean, you wonder how you can you honor the people who passed before you or whatever by living by living well. That's real. I mean, in redemption. So everything, every this is just my opinion of your story is it's all about redemption, and that's really what this podcast is about. Is somebody who has a story who persevered and made it. So, I mean, I look at you and I'm just like, wow. I mean, you're a strong, powerful woman. I mean, I'm not just saying because we're on this podcast. I mean, I would say this to you, period. And
you said it to me before.
Yeah. And I just want other people to hear that. And, your story, somebody's going to sit here and listen to it and like, man, I'm having a bad day. Like, how bad of a day am I really having? Because you've been through some tough times.
Yeah, and you always say your thing is hard charger.
Yeah.
Is your motto. And I think you're the epitome of that because everything you talk about is just like something, living in a tent, not having a place to live. Everything was just like, well, I got to keep moving. I'm going to keep doing it.
Yeah, I mean, that's something I was like, wow. Whatever's in you or whatever your drive is, I mean, it's
huge.
It's huge.
A lot of it, I know I had it on the lighter end when it comes down to most things growing up and all. But all in all, it's been one thing after another. But who else are you going to rely on? You got to take care of you. But I've definitely had to push and persevere through everything. So I believe there's a season for everything, and it's going to teach you something. It's either you're gonna realize that this is the way to do it, or it's going to be in the way of psych. We're going to break you down and build you up. So I've had a lot of breaking down and building up to go, and with that, I know that things are on the better side of everything now. It's not much more of a survival mode anymore.
Yeah, it's nice for you. Yeah, I think that's huge. Yeah,
I have the opportunity to breathe and move forward and learn how to be healthy, not just in a relationship, but also healthy towards me and take care of me in a healthier way, so to speak. And with that, it's just made me who I am today. So I have to be very thankful for what I've learned, what I've grown through, and I don't really hang on to much of anything. So if anybody's thinking about like my mom's case or something like that, I actually worked on trying to forgive her husband or whoever committed the crime, because I couldn't live with that hate or anything on my heart, because then it just made me bitter. So it's just like, you know what? I don't have to worry about anything anymore. She's in a better place. She doesn't have to worry about anybody beating on her. She doesn't have to worry about her kids. So I have a guardian angel. But with that, I'm surprised at how much I've gone through. And it's just like I'm 27 going on 28 years old. And it's just like now things are starting to get good. So all in due time.
Yeah. Well, good. I mean, I'm going to end on that. Yeah. Normally we try to say something profound, but I think that's it.
Yeah,
all in good time. Yeah.
No, that was beautiful,
me, guys.
And good for you and good for your boyfriend. So what's his name?
Reed,
you're a lucky person, and we wish you the best too.
Yeah, thanks for coming on and sharing your story. It was moving to me. And
well, yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah. So we usually has a little bit here, and we. Oh yeah, last thing, you get this cup.
Yeah,
we always say that on the hill. Since you're a business, a salesperson, or it's got a little thing on the back, and you say, "Hey, check me out on this podcast," and it has everything on there that you might be able to pass out. We might give you some more since you actually
go for it
with a lot of folk. It's a little small, but I think it'll work.
Yeah, has their website and everything on it. So, again, if you're chiming into the end, we're on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast, and we'll see you next time.
Yes, sir.
On the hill.
Yeah.
On the hill.
Peace.
Thank you for listening to On the Hill. Like, subscribe, and follow us wherever you listen to your podcasts. See ya.